I'm going to tell you this right now. If they don't have the patience to wait for you, leave. Healing is our responsibility. Our past, the things that happened to us that we didn't have a say in, we can't control that, but we can control how we move forward and the healing that is in our hands and we need to be responsible for. And I really want you to think about this too. You know, in this analogy, I can give you the car keys, but you got to be the one to put the keys into the ignition. The car is never going to start. You're never going to leave the driveway. You're never going to leave your house. You're never going to leave the parking spot until you put that key in that ignition and turn it or push to start. And you put that car in reverse and you go. You put that car in drive and you go. I can only give you the keys, but you got to be the one to put the keys in the ignition and go. And that's the same thing with our healing, right? And oftentimes what keeps us from healing is that we're carrying stuff that just doesn't belong to us. Again, healing belongs to you. You making the decision to heal, that is your responsibility. And sometimes the slow up just comes from us carrying stuff that don't belong to us. I can't act like I came up with this analogy. I'm gonna give my shout out to Dr. Zeb, man. He's just a phenomenal coach. Somebody who's had a real impact on my life. But this is a beautiful analogy that I want to share with you that hopefully makes this make sense, because if you've ever taken a trip on an airplane and you had a luggage and it had to be weighed, some of those weight systems and weight scales, obviously there's a max weight that allows your luggage to pass that luggage check. And if it doesn't pass that luggage check because it's too heavy, there's one of two things that you need to do. You have to empty out your luggage, right, of the things that you don't need, so that way it gets lighter, or you have to pay an additional fee to keep everything in it to travel with you. Not just going there, but also coming back. And I think let the luggage represent your life. And the simple fact that there's a lot of us who are paying unnecessarily. We are paying additional fees, costs, losses in our life because we are unwilling to let go of the things that had nothing to do with us. We're unwilling to let go of the stuff that doesn't belong to us. And the very funny thing about when it comes to packing, especially overpacking, is we have the tendency to take what we don't need, but leave behind what we do. And I just want to encourage you that there might be some unpacking you need to do. You might need to actually sit down and let go of some of the stuff that you've been holding on to, that you've been holding all this unnecessary guilt and shame about. But it doesn't belong to you because it's not yours. It's not yours. And because it's not yours, you have the right to let it go. You don't need permission from nobody around you to let it go. Let it go because it doesn't belong to you. And when you're willing to let go of the stuff that doesn't belong to you, you're able to reach where God is taking you safely. Because we all know what happens to planes when it has too much heavy luggage. That plane gets weighed down. And if it's too weighed down, the plane won't take off and the plane won't arrive at the destination that you're supposed to be in. And I think that's the same way with us. There are some things that God is actually calling us to let go of, because at the very instance of us letting go, our hands become free. And our hands become free to receive what God desires for us that's greater than what we're letting go of. And we have to be willing to just separate from those things if we really want to experience God at such amazing levels. And maybe for you, that's the idea that you need to experience sex before marriage. Maybe for you, that's the idea that you gotta test drive the car before you take it off the lot. Because if we're being honest, humans aren't cars. So we should just bury that whole perspective today, right now. Don't say that no more. Because it's not accurate. We got to let go of this whole idea of, well, I'm afraid of disappointing this person. Like they really want it and I don't want to disappoint them. So I'm just going to rather give in, because at least there's peace and harmony within the relationship at the cost of crossing boundaries and at the cost of downplaying and dumbing down your values to please this person. I'm going to tell you this right now. If they don't have the patience to wait for you, leave. Oh, I felt that. Yeah. Me and you talking, right? Come on in the room. If they don't have the patience to wait for you, then you have my permission to go. Because somebody who does not desire to wait for you, who does not desire to wait with you to marriage, is somebody who has yet to really see the value you carry and how it demands a level of commitment to get access to your body like that. Oh my Lord. Yeah, you got to get that. You got to get that. There's so much value in your life. And this is the stuff that has encouraged me to keep where I'm at. Because I'm not designed to be accessed by everybody, fam. I'm not designed by that. I'm just not. I'm not cut from that cloth. And neither are you. You aren't meant to have multiple women in your life, fam. You're not meant to live a polygamous lifestyle. Yes, I know where you're going. The same Bible you use is the same Bible that has all these kings that have multiple women. And let's look at the conclusions of those things, though. Let's keep the text in context. Solomon had 700 wives, 300 concubines. But what do we read at the end of his life? That the many women he was infiltrated with were the very many women that led him away from the heart of God. Do we really say that that's beneficial? No, not as a believer. Jacob had multiple, but Jacob had Rachel and Leah. Worked 7 years, thought he was going to get Rachel, got Leah, worked another 7 years to get Rachel, who he thought was the baddest girl to ever walk the face of the earth. But we saw how that brought about tension. Just because he had 2 wives doesn't mean that God approved it. Just because David had multiple wives doesn't mean that God approved it. No. That we cannot associate God to a level of approval because we just see it in the text. What God allows us to see in the midst of the things he's working through humanity of is humanity itself. And sometimes oftentimes humanity just makes horrible decisions. But that doesn't mean God is behind it. That doesn't mean God approves of it. And so I think we just, as men, man, we got to be willing to step in the gap. Say, you know what? It's got to end with me, man. It's got to end with me. I know I didn't have all that I should have. I know that my family hasn't really been that supportive. I know I got a trail of history behind me of family members and people who have just done the craziest of things. I don't have to carry that anymore. I don't have to make that my business anymore. And I can make a decision to do something different with my life and move forward. And yeah, it's going to be challenging. I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. I'm not telling you that you just automatically, when you step into this, it's going to be so blissful and you're not going to have no temptations. Pornography ain't going to be on your mind. You're not going to have your regularly time schedule because you used to getting some head and some bed play every weekend. And so when your body is on a clock, 2 a.m., you up. I mean, you up, 2 a.m. Bro, I'm so used to this right now. And if it ain't just from you having sexual interactions with people, it was due to the pornography addiction and masturbation, you just up. Fam, it's real. But this is why we need accountability. This is why we need community. Because when we bring those things to light, you're going to get tired of telling people, hey, I slipped. You're going to get tired of saying it. And it's going to put you in a lane of where you have to do something different in order to get different results and live in a place of holiness and to live in a place of honoring God in the midst of those things. So absolutely, y'all, I'm telling you, purity and seeing the value, my belief system, my values that make decisions for me. And by values, I also just mean your perspectives, attitudes, and beliefs about the world around you, right? So the things that I know I value that often lead from the foundation that I carry spiritually, which is scripture, which is Jesus of Nazareth, who is the Christ, right? So my values come from there. He gets to tell me who I am. Christ gets to define my sexuality. Christ gets to tell me how my sexual character ought to move. And I have a decision to submit to that daily. And that is my responsibility. Absolutely. 1000%. So not only does my values and belief system play a role in it, seeing the value and purity play a role in it, but also wanting to see and tell my wife at the altar that my body belongs to her because she deserves it. She deserves it. Your future spouse deserves the preservation of your body. What's happening, fam? Thank you so much for tuning in to this video. If you want to watch the full replay of this entire conversation, I'm sure it's popped up somewhere on this screen, so be sure to click that. But also, if you guys are interested in joining a free safe space for men community designed to help you heal and get your life back on track in 4 dimensions of faith, relationships, energy, and economics, click the link in the description below. Be sure to sign up and join in this community so we can connect and get back on track to getting you back. Be easy.